Hey guys, how you doing? This is Bear with Bear's Den Acrylic Art, back with another painting video for you. So tonight I have a 12 by 16 gallery wrapped canvas that has its edges, primed with Amsterdam Oxide black. You can tell this is a reused canvas. So tonight what I want to try is a bloom swipe. Now, if we are in the same Facebook art groups, I posted a couple days ago my first successful attempt at this technique, and I was thrilled with the result. And it took many attempts to get to that result, so I was really happy. But a couple of you had asked about making a video, and we're going to give this a go. I kind of feel like I still have my training wheels on with this technique, but let's see what happens. Now, this is a technique that Molly of Molly's Artistry and Mark Radcliffe have been just knocking out of the park. So they've really inspired me to really try to get this technique down. And it comes down to consistency, and it comes down to how you swipe your cell activator, okay? So with that, let me explain how we're gonna do this, okay? So I have 3 colors and then the Oxide black, all right? I have the Lime Green by Liquitex Basics. I have the Prism Violet by Liquitex Basics, and I have Artist Loft Deep Magenta, okay? And all of these paints are mixed 3 parts pouring medium to 1 part paint, okay? And with a tiny, tiny bit of water. So it makes a mound as it comes off of the stick, but that mound goes away almost immediately, okay? So it's 3 parts pouring medium to 1 part paint, okay? So what's the pouring medium? So I am using Molly's recipe, which for hers, it is 70% American Floetrol, and then 30% of this Gloss Medium and Varnish, okay? This is some by Creative Inspirations that I got at my local Jerry's. So 30% of the Gloss Varnish, Gloss Medium and Varnish, 70% of the Australian, or the American Floetrol. Now, my cell activator, this is 1 part Amsterdam Titanium White and 3 parts of the Australian Floetrol, okay, right here. And it's a very, very thin consistency, okay? So what I am going to do is I am going to pour little puddles around the canvas, and I am going to load the back of my spatula with my pouring medium, and then we are going to swipe, and then we are going to tilt, all right? So, like I said, I still kind of feel like I have my training wheels on with this, but, we gotta learn somehow. So, now I am back using the cups that do not pour very well, but that's okay. So again, this is just Amsterdam's Oxide Black. And then we'll start putting the colors down. Man, those cups really do suck. All right, so this is the Deep Magenta. And there's no real rhyme or reason to this part. And why don't we just put the rest right here? So yeah, this you can just make as haphazard as you want. You can actually just do straight blocks of color like Molly has done. She's actually done both. So this is the Prism Violet. And let's see. So even though we're not going to get, full, coverage of, the top of the canvas, that's okay, because there's going to be more than enough paint. So when we go to tilt this, we won't have to worry about coverage. So the lime green. Now I chose these colors because, the way that the white cell activator works, the colors look, it looks almost electrified. So, I wanted to choose some colors that I thought would look really good up against a very stark white, which is which is exactly what the titanium white is. And I love this lime green color. This is fairly aggressively green, but I don't mind. All right. And just that much left. So that is the entirety of our colors. Now I guess what I will do, just for the sake of ease, is kind of make this, because again, even though we're going to be tilting most of this off anyway, a little flow extender never hurt. So this brings us to one of the parts that just makes me so nervous, and that is actually the swipe. Now, historically, the problem that I have been having is keeping, once I get the cell activator on the back of this and go to swipe, it's keeping the uniform pressure, okay, against the surface of the paint. You obviously don't want to gouge it by pressing too hard, but if you don't have it even, you're not going to get an even swipe. So it's a lot of, I guess muscle memory is the best way to put it. But up until very, very recently, I apparently have just had very forgetful muscles. All right. Get all that popped. So, I don't know if you can see it, but I have a little trough that I have constructed out of some tin foil to help, you know, get an even coverage on the back of the spatula, and anything that's left over I can just funnel back in to the squeeze bottle. So here we go. Just pressing it lightly into the cell activator. Okay, that's it. So we shall give this a go. Let's see, why don't we I should have done this earlier, and that was to make sure I had enough room to maneuver. All right. So nice and slow, even. Okay, that looks really, really cool. That looks really cool. And what I'm guessing is going to happen is I'm going to wipe my spatula right there, and you won't be able to see it, but the Australian Floetrol that was left is still causing lacing, even in like the runoff, I guess. So we load the spatula back up. Let's try it again. Pretty cool. Now, the real fun is going to be in a couple minutes when we go to tilt this, because my biggest issue has been overworking the lacing, you know, with the tilting. So hopefully we can avoid that. All right. So I'm actually going to start here again. You see, I didn't keep even pressure, so I got a bubble. But still, I think that looks pretty cool. So now, I think the best thing to do is maybe to switch to a smaller palette knife, because there's a lot of really good lacing in here that I don't really want to disturb, if at all possible. So, same thing, coat the back. And then let's start here. And we shall repeat that. And then I think we'll do right here. Very cool. Yeah, so this technique has, you know, it's been on my to-do list for a while because I really like the way that that blooms look. I just don't really have the space to do them, as far as like putting them on a spinner and really having it go to town. So, this technique, you kind of get the best of both worlds. Okay, you don't have to worry about, getting the right kind of house paint. You don't have to worry about, having the room to spin. With the Australian Floetrol and this recipe that I think Molly herself came up with, you can see just all of this fantastic lacing detail, okay? And, that is just from just swiping. So this has been a really fun kind of gateway into, I guess, the bloom technique, which eventually I will figure something out. If I have to get a sheet of plywood or something to put over top of this to have room for a spinning box. We'll see. Anyway, I'm stalling because I always get nervous when I have to tilt. So, yeah, there's a lot of paint on here. So you want to just kind of see where your paint wants to go. And you also want to think of, your overall composition. Now, the first corner I'm going to tilt is closest to me. So I'd say fingers crossed, but I can't cross my fingers at the moment. Bringing it back to the middle. Now I'm also going to come down towards me again. This looks pretty cool. Now I am debating this corner that's closest to you. I don't like that space that isn't laced, but I'm afraid of overstretching what's already there. So I think what I am going to do is first I'm going to wipe off my hands. And then I think I'm going to take my smaller palette knife and just do some little swipes, so that way I can hopefully just do a quick tilt and not have to disturb what's there too much. But we'll see. So we load back up. All right, just to break that up. But overall, you can see how, with the white cell activator, how all of this looks. It does look somewhat electrified, and that's what I like about this so much. All right. Just trying to see what the paint wants to do. Paint doesn't want to do a whole lot. No, that can't be helped. Oh well. So I'm going to try and walk this back down. Okay, overall, yes, overall, I am quite pleased with this. What I am going to do is first try and take my gloves off without flinging paint everywhere, because I have been known to do that. Okay. And then what I think I'm gonna do is this part right here. I am debating if I wanna just kind of put just some black right there, just to have that be like the tiniest bit of negative space. Although, you know, I don't know. I don't want to fuss with it too much, just because I really like the way that it looks. But while I'm debating in my head, I can scrape my edges. But yeah, so overall, this is the bloom swipe that, you know, does require, you know, a lot of practice, at least for me. And believe me, I do not like when I am not good at something right away. but unfortunately, like, I don't really have a say in that. I'm just touching up the corners here a little bit. Yeah, so there is definitely a learning curve with this technique, at least there was for me. But I am very pleased that I finally feel like, you know, like the training wheels are starting to come off. So I think I'm just going to leave it. So we'll just pop any remaining bubbles. And I am going to just scrape that edge that is closest to you, and let me bring you in for the close-up, because there is just so much to look at here. This is so cool. So let me bring you in. Okay, so I really love how this turned out. I really love it. As usual, pardon the ring light, but you can see just the electricity in all of this lacing. Now, this part did get a little too stretched for my liking, but I don't think it negatively impacts the piece that much. I love this part right here. This is why people love the bloom, because if you look close at this lacing, it's white, but you get the, you know, magenta or the deep violet or the prism violet, you know, kind of outlining that light. So this is just so cool. The only thing I did while you weren't looking was this part right here. I just rounded it out a little bit. You know, and I'll do that again in a couple minutes, and I'll go back just to make it look a little bit more purposeful. Because right now, as I'm looking at it through my phone, it looks like, you know, a dude's profile with a big nose, and that is not going to work for me. So overall, though, this I do consider a success. I love how bright it is. It has a very neon quality to it, and I am really, really pleased. All right, guys. Well, I had a great time with this. I am thrilled with how this turned out. I'm very, very pleased, and I can't wait to explore this technique a little more. And I encourage you guys to do the same. You know, if you're anything like me, I don't like not being good at something right away, but sometimes we have to take our lumps and persist. So anyway, this is Bear with Bear's Den Acrylic Art, reminding you guys that if you are new to my channel and you feel so inclined, please hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload new content. You know, share the video. Sharing is caring. You know, if you're interested, all of my work is up for sale. You can find my entire portfolio on my Instagram and Facebook art pages at Bear's Den Acrylic Art. You can also email me directly at bear@bearsdenacrylicart.com. So, thanks for tuning in. I can't believe that I am almost at 1,000 subscribers. That is bonkers to me. But it makes me think that, you know, maybe I'm doing something, you know, halfway right. So I thank you guys for your time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye. Okay, so here are the dry results. This dried beautifully. I love that all of the lacing is still intact. I love how the lime green interacting with the white, you know, really makes it look electric. And I think that's what I'm going to call this, mad electricity. So yeah, I am super thrilled that you know, this piece turned out. And with each attempt, I am getting better and better at this technique. So practice makes perfect, and I intend to keep on practicing. So good stuff.